destroyer of worlds. I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
Yo, what's up? This is Absolutely Notforthe Meek with the new show, The Aftermath Show, with my colleague, The Agitator. Today is February 28th, 2024, and we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and X.
Oh,
and
so you
tonight,
went ahead and did. You said you went ahead and did Facebook. I didn't know you were doing Facebook, but that's okay. I thought we were just doing live, but it's all good. Go ahead.
Well, live is what we have to be streaming on something.
StreamYard. So what are you? So we're on Facebook, Instagram, or what else?
No, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and X, Twitter.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Those are easy to get into. Other thing I have to put in freaking key codes and all kind of bullshit. So I just go up on here. Makes it easy. Anyway, so you've been very busy working hard.
Very busy.
Yes.
Very
It's been
busy.
very hard to get you up in here to go ahead and get this started. So I very much appreciate you. I know this is going to be informative and powerful.
Yes, sir.
So,
go ahead, man.
Oh yeah. So, you sent me something a while back, and it was about a lady in Africa that I think she's an attorney from the UK, I do believe.
Yeah. Can't think. I think Africa or something. Africa or something. The one you're talking about, the one that was killed in Gambia.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, what we should do is play that clip so the people can see what we're talking about. Let me go ahead and start that right now. Uh-oh, that's the wrong one.
Was that Lil Kim or Foxy? Bro, who was that?
Sexy Red and
Same thing.
Oh wow. Let's see if this one is the right one here. Here we go.
I live here in the Gambia. I'm representing the African Diaspora Returnees Association, and we are a group of people who have returned to live in Gambia because we see ourselves as Africans.
A suspicious death in the Gambia. I want to introduce you to someone, for those of you who don't know her. Her name is Audrey LaShawn Davis, better known as Soul, her sister. She's a YouTube content creator, and she was based in the Gambia. And unfortunately, she passed away unexpectedly. She has no children. She was there alone. She was in a relationship. I believe that relationship is no longer existent. I believe that relationship ended. She had property. She had land. She had a house full of beautiful things. She had a car. And now that she's gone, she just died unexpectedly, and she has no pre-existing conditions. Who got her property, people? Who got everything she had in the Gambia?
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we already know
Yo,
what happened to her. She got hit in the back of the head with a hammer.
that's a different lady. I was actually, when you were playing it, I was looking for the other one. Her name was Afrikita. I'm gonna try to
You know what's crazy?
go
I
ahead.
remember there was you know what? Wow. That just
It
blew
was
my fucking mind. You know what? I think that lady is the one that was, she's from Georgia. This one that which
which.
this video of, this isn't this one from
Mhm,
Georgia? And she had businesses and everything down there. I remember she was streaming from Gambia, talking about how affordable it was. She was showing these
mhm.
beautiful big houses, like mansions. And she would say it was like only $300 rent.
Yeah,
That's her.
I'm
Damn,
not sure. No, is that her? But there's another one.
that's a
Not the
doctor.
Shakina, not the Shakina lady. The other lady is her name is I cannot get her name right. Afriki. I'm trying to pull her up now. But there's also been
Okay,
women
okay.
killed.
Oh,
Go ahead,
you
go
know
ahead.
what? You know what? I think I got her here.
Yeah, I
So
saw that.
that's
I
what
said.
that one. She said that she's a YouTuber and everything like that. So that's probably that chick from Georgia. This one right here is probably the educated older woman. Let me play this. I think this is the one that you sent me. Hold on.
Her name is
But
Afriki. Go ahead.
family. So I'm here today to talk about the domestic violence that is taking place on the continent that no one seems to be talking about. A lot of folks come on talking about relationships and dating on the continent, but there are situations where sisters are coming over here and dating Gambian men and realizing that they're not who they thought they were. Okay, so that representative has left the building after I guess a few days, weeks. They find out that the individual that they're with is possessive, unstable, physically aggressive. These individuals, when they are told they no longer want to see these men, are being abused. These men are forcing their way into their compounds, into their homes, and no one's stopping them. Because the logic is when you get involved with somebody, that person now sort of possesses you or has access to you whenever they want.
That's the one right here. Oh my
Right.
God, it's gonna start to play again. No, okay. Sister something it said. Let me see if I can go to that name. Sister Anja Africa.
I think that's her.
Okay. Now is that the lawyer from the UK?
I'm not sure of her profession. I don't think the last one you played was from
Georgia?
the UK. I think the one prior was from the
Uh,
UK. But it's been six. But back in, I believe it
mhm,
was 2015, there was
mhm.
two elderly ladies killed in Ghana.
Well, I got more videos, sir. I mean, we got. I want you. I want you to check out this one right here because this sister, boy, she's spicy. She mad spicy when she's talking about African men and everything like that. So let me go ahead and play her, and the same pimp dude is sitting there watching the video. So check this out.
Independent woman. Most men cannot function with a woman who does not need him. Most men cannot function with a woman who is more educated than him. Most men can't do that. The majority of the men that I know can do that is Caucasian European men. Most
What?
black people don't know how to function.
Oh, I need to
What did
pause
she
her.
just say?
Oh, you want me
What
to
is
go
she?
back on it? Oh yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh yes, spicy, sir.
Not function with a woman who is more educated than him. Most men can't do that. The majority of the men that I know can do that is Caucasian European men.
Mm.
Most black
Stereotyping like crazy. Wow. You know what the problem is? She was dealing with males, not men.
But you know what? Let me say this. This was a lot of that. This was the attitude of a lot of women when I was in the hair business.
Really? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Go into it, sir. Tell it all,
No.
sir.
The attitude and that Black American men cannot handle them
Oh
or
my god.
not educated enough.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and what I found was in dating a lot of the women with degrees because they thought they was just dealing with. Oh, you still there? You gone? I don't know if you're there or gone or what's going on. Is we still live? Yo, Ron. I think you've gone out, bro. Your stream cut out. Well, let me know when you come back. I'll be here. I'm still here. I'm just gonna be going over something online until you get back. Oh, you cut
Okay.
out. You cut out.
Yeah, the
I
whole
don't
thing,
know.
the whole thing blanked out. The whole computer said boop boop. It was
Oh,
gone.
yeah. What I was saying was when I was in the hair business in like the early 2000s, late 90s, 2000.
Uh-huh.
The in dating, I guess they thought, oh, this guy's just a he doesn't read, he's uneducated, he didn't go to college, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
they thought that they were just going to go out to eat with someone who wasn't informed, who didn't read. And what I
Yeah.
found is this is not all, but a lot of black women that I experienced, they don't like men that's more intelligent than them. Where you at? Where you was? Are you hearing the voices?
No,
What
no,
do
no,
you?
no, no. I
You?
listen. I was looking.
Is
I
you
was
looking?
looking to hit the fan. I was looking to turn the fan on. So I'm looking to see if the light switch is on, if I can just reach up and what's there.
I was. I
I
was
thought one of
wondering
those
what.
women. I thought one of those women come behind me, son.
That's what I. That's what I was thinking. You better watch out. No,
Coming.
that's what I. That's the conclusion I came to.
We
You mean
talking about?
bro? What I'm saying is, I'm telling you, I'm like, wow. You meet a woman, they ask if you have been educated, if you went to college. No, I didn't go. I didn't go to college. So they automatically think that you are not intelligent. So
Exactly.
they were trying to use words and to try to belittle you through words. And then when they found that, oh my God, this guy is not stupid, then
Yeah.
they ask you, well, what college did you go to? I, I thought you told me you didn't go to college. I
Mm-hmm.
said, I didn't. But you thought I was stupid because I didn't go.
Yeah.
I found that they do not like men that are smarter than them.
Wow.
That's what I learned in the hair business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, wow. But the women that didn't go to college, they just graduated high school, whether they went into the military or just went into the workforce.
Uh-huh.
Their attitudes were they didn't have a haughty attitude with men, and that's why I
Yeah.
think a lot of those women are married.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
But
yeah. I mean,
but you
I
know
could
what's
go in
crazy?
detail. I can go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want you to because I mean, the college education is just being institutionalized to be like what a robot, um, to be compliant. That you don't think out of the box. They just got you. Just you're supposed to think this certain way and do things this certain way. You're not thinking on your feet. You don't have street smarts or nothing like that. I mean, I just had a situation with a female that she's gone to school, has somewhat of an education and everything, and she's straight up bat crazy. I mean, totally insane. Which she's trying to get into the medical field, and patients are already complaining about her as a CMA. They're like, "Yo, this bitch is rough. She hurt me. She did it." And she's like, "Oh, I want to be a registered nurse." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, you're a nightmare.
Wow.
I mean, you might kill somebody. I mean, what the hell?" Shoot. So I don't know, sir. These delusional as hell.
You're right. I understand what you're saying, man. Let me
Yeah.
try to get in the frame. I'm not in the frame good.
So you want me to play that video? Go back?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because
Yes.
that little episode that knocked out all the reels I had and everything.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna try. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said while you're doing that, I'm trying to get in the frame. I don't know why my head is cut off. I thought I was in frame earlier.
Well, here we go.
Okay.
Cannot function under an independent woman. Most men cannot function with a woman who does not need him. Most men cannot function with a woman who is more educated than him. Most men can't do that. The majority of the men that I know can do that is Caucasian European men. Most black people don't know how to function with a woman that is above him. You keep this in your mind. African women will always have the one-up on us in the area of submission, maintaining a marriage, and taking care of their man. Number one. Baby, you will never be able to compete with that. But when you're considering and you're trying to maintain a relationship with an African man and you are coming from the West, you need to make sure that he is educated and he needs absolutely nothing from you financially. And most of the men that sit in that category that are African are already married. If an African man is interested in you and you can see no fruit of success, he's needy, girl. He's going to exploit you to the best of his ability. And then because you're not going to be able to humble and respect him because you come from the West, and that is very difficult to do. Take it from somebody that knows. Take it from what Esther is saying. We're not lying to you. It's difficult to submit to a man who you don't need. Oh, but I want you to come into this thing with your eyes wide open. Because y'all in the West be romanticizing Africa, baby, and it's not giving. So the third thing I want you to consider is most African men they're only going to use a condom if they know you to be a known prostitute. Now, the statistics and the HIV rate and all of that in Africa lets you know that this is true. Okay? We're not talking about one man or two men. We're giving majority statistics. They're not going to use a condom. And African women most of them are not going to force that. Now, considering everything that I said, including your health, African men are going to cheat. They're not going to use a condom. And so you got to kind of sit back and say, wait a minute. Is it really worth it? Saying that African women have taught African men what to accept, how to be, how to treat a woman, what they can get away with, and they can predominantly get away with anything. So they're not going to put up with the women from the West shenanigans. If you're not able to humble yourself on the level of an African woman, baby, which majority cannot, coming from the West, you're going to suffer. You're putting your health at risk. You're putting your financial future at risk. And you're putting your mental health at risk. You need to make sure you know what you're doing when you come over here and you looking from America at African men. You need to make sure that you understand that what we consider to be normal is not. What we consider to be morally correct is not in Africa. Men can predominantly do whatever they want to do. They are the head, baby, and you are not even the tail, girl. You under his feet, under the cement, under the grass where hell almost at. That is literally where a lot of they women stand mentally. But financially and physically, African men are predominantly good to their women. It's just a mindset. It's a belief system. It's a culture. Okay, so able to get under the cement, under the rug, under the grass, under the dirt, and humble yourself to him. Don't be in a relationship with him. It doesn't matter if he's poor. Girl, you will never control him. You will never. Actually, girl, you done took yourself out of the wife position. You put yourself in a sponsorship role. And he's going to see you as such. You a sponsor, you're not a wife. Let me give you this and I'm out. If you are boisterous, cantankerous, rebellious, argumentative, and haughty, you're not going to make it with an African man. It doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter the economical status. If those are your characteristics as an American woman, black or white, you're not going to make it with an African man. And when he finds out that you're disrespectful, he's going to exploit you and then discard you.
But do you know that most of the women that move abroad or moving abroad because of rebellion, she used rebellion, she used haughty. She have a lot of points. And she's only, but what they don't realize is they're leaving a skillet for the frying pan. They're leaving the skillet
burn up that dysfunction
for the frying pan. And I talk to a lot of women in different groups, especially in Clubhouse, and I try to explain to them that because they're thinking that there's something better over on the other side. And I try to explain to them that majority of the men abroad that have something going on that is successful, they're already taken.
Oh yeah.
That is any country that you go to, but the majority of the women that are going abroad are moving abroad out of rebellion, whether they be lesbian or whether they're just straight bisexual.
Hold on. You mean to tell me lesbians and bisexual women are moving to Africa?
I can't speak for Africa.
Oh, okay, because Africa ain't having that, bro.
but wait a minute. No, Africa does have it, but it's just hidden.
They have it.
It happens. It happens more in Latin America.
Oh yeah.
Colombia, Dominican Republic, especially Brazil. You'll have them. You'll see them down there with their natural hair. Little weight on them, most of them.
Yeah.
Some, majority, over 40. And they're down in these countries looking for women. Oh man, not just the bisexual or the lesbian. When I lived in Jamaica, oh my God, I got stories for you about Jamaica. Oh my God, that's like, oh, you out again, man? You done blocked out again? Man,
that moment when you realized the feminine movement was just a government scam to double their workforce and tax income, baiting women with false empowerment to train up our children and raise them into their system, to destroy the family unit, caging two birds with one stone, the mother and the child.
You had some technical difficulties.
serious technical difficulties. Hopefully we.
Now, we can hopefully safely do this video and to the ending and be good.
Right.
All right, but
So,
I don't want to talk about so much the gay female type thing because that right there, I mean, the statistics know the statistics show that those are failures in every way, shape, and form. So I don't want to. I mean, when you maybe I think when they're real old, like you see some of these old ladies like grandmas and everything like that, they seem to be able to get along and go on into the sunset together and stuff like that. But when they're young, man, forget about it. You had a chick over in Chicago. She was caught with her girlfriend's dead body in the trunk and everything like that. And she had another girl in the car with her, and she tried to outrun the cops, and she crashed into somebody's house in the driveway. And then she started shooting at the cops and everything. Cops shot her dead. So I
no,
mean,
I didn't. I never heard of this, but I don't see why not discuss it because when, like I said, when I was a hairstylist,
oh
I
boy,
did a lot of. I,
really? They
yeah,
was
I
a
did a
dead
lot.
too.
Yes, I did
Uh,
a lot of bisexual, straight, and lesbian.
uh,
Yeah, probably more bisexual.
well, I consider all of them pretty much bisexual.
Well, I'm not gonna say that. I'm just
I
gonna
mean,
say
I've got with some of them in the past. You know what I'm saying? And you know,
right. I was in the hair business when what is that? What was that? I started like '95,
uh,
and around the late '90s, it was the Elin Harris books. Elin Harris. It was Elin Harris. Then there's J.L.O. King or something like that.
and
But
who are these people?
these are guys that were writing about the Download Brothers, and I
Oh,
didn't never heard about the books until my clients would bring the books in,
okay.
and I'm like, what is that about? And they were reading these books on the gay men and blah blah blah, and I'm like saying to myself, and they were actually buying off into this,
What do you
but
mean
at the
buying off
same,
into it?
they were believing the high. Okay,
The
inside of the
narrative?
books, exactly.
Okay.
I like that. Yes, narratives. They would read these books and he would believe say that this particular man dresses like this, act like this, does this. So your husband or your boyfriend has homosexual download tendencies. And I was like, because he dressed nice, educated, smelled good, always want to look good. And the lady was
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, this is my husband. But this was the same woman that's going through a divorce. So why are you reading a book about by a gay man telling you the signs to look for in a man that could be potentially down low? And they
Uh-huh.
were buying into the narrative and causing problems in the relationships, going home questioning their husbands about if he's down low, holding back from sex because they might think he's down low because of some books that they were reading. But my point is,
Uh-huh.
no one ever wrote a book about the women that were down low. We don't have time to write those books.
Uh-huh.
But they were down low. I've been to the parties. Lesbian party. You cutting out again. I went to the
I didn't
all
cut out.
les.
That was you.
Oh,
You
I
just
cut out. Well,
disappeared.
both. You know what? Both of us blinked. You did too. Yours
I
from
did.
my side. Yours. I went to the
Okay.
parties where several parties from several clients, and the women introduced me to other women that the other women were married
Uh-huh.
and had boyfriends, and the women were together and both of them were married. But we never wrote a book. See, because we don't, the, because there was never a man that was in a position to get the stories on a first-hand basis.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been a man to have been to the parties, to have shook hands and talked to the women. and did their hair and did provided other
So you
services
became that
on
man.
right in their mind, maybe because in their mind as a hairstylist, they saw me as another one of the girls.
Mm. I was curious as you bring up this story. Do you remember a man came up with a survey, a study where he talked about how gays were superior to heterosexuals? Did you
No,
see that?
no, I never heard of that. I never heard of that. I was
Man,
no.
listen, yo, they came up with all type of statistics about how gay men are more intelligent, more more disciplined in business and all this stuff like that. Which I agree that a gay man, since he has that feminine tendency, that he's ruthless.
But at the
He
same
had
time,
Go ahead.
who did this study? If a police officer is doing a an investigation against another police officer, he's going to do an investigation into the police officer's favor.
Oh, true,
So if
true.
there's a gay man or a gay person that's writing, they're going to push their narrative.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
But I'm just speaking of the women that came. Oh shucks!
Because I want to serve the community.
What the heck? Let me close, shut it out. Accidentally pushed the button. So they're going to push their narrative, but I would just so happen to be in a position in the hair industry
Yes.
to have heard, touch, feel, taste nearly every dynamic for years.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever a particular woman is in a setting and they make a comment about something, for example, I would be in the salon and client would say, I don't have any kids. I'm successful. I don't have any kids. I learned this from other women. Well, how many abortions?
Wow. What?
You don't have any kids at, say, you went to college, you don't have any kids, you're 28 to 35, no kids. Well, how many abortions? And that conversation would stop. Because in the
Wow.
process of chasing the career, there was 2 or 3 abortions. 1 or 2
Mm-hmm.
happened in college.
Wow.
The father don't know, but the mother knew.
Oh yeah.
The mother knew that
Damn, what is going on?
nobody, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The mother kept it a secret. I've literally seen mothers. I had a lot of decent clients and women as friends. I've also seen women destroy their daughters with bad information,
How?
and when
Oh
and
yes.
bad information, and when you
Uh-huh.
counter it or you say something, well, why you want to do that? I had a woman tell me, because I want to destroy him, and I'm like, well, what about the children? I don't I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck as long as
He
I
said, "Fuck
get
them
that.
kids."
Oh, okay, so we can curse on here.
Why not?
I'm just okay. She said,
I
"Fuck that
curse all the
nigga."
time. I'm from New
But
York.
she said, "Fuck that nigga." As
Yeah.
long as I get that nigga. And I was like, but you're gonna hurt your kids. She did
Uh-huh.
not care. But remember, I am not saying it's all of the women. I'm saying that in the salon, that was some of my experiences. I had some
Mhm.
experiences with clients that were, oh man, I had one chick, I can't think of her name. She was like heavy set chick, like 400 pounds.
Wow.
And I was doing her hair for her anniversary, her 14, 15-year anniversary. And she
Uh-huh.
flashed a ring in my face. And it blinded me. But at the
Wow.
same time, this chick was like 400 pounds and she had a sister too.
Maybe she bought her
And
own ring.
no, she was married. And
Huh?
there was another dime piece, a
Uh-huh.
dime piece that was sitting in the salon. It was just us two because the salon was private. It wasn't open. And she said, it's my 15th anniversary. I don't know where he's taking me. And she
Mm-hmm.
showed me the ring. I'm like, sister, congratulations. Make sure your hair look good, blah, blah, blah. When she left, the dime piece, I'm talking about dime piece.
Yeah.
Educated, beautiful, fine, nice body, everything. And she said to me, but I don't understand. I was like, what you don't know? I knew what she was saying, but I was playing
Yeah.
stupid. I said, I don't understand. I mean, I said, oh, you trying to figure out why she's 400 pounds and have a ring on her hand that looked like a freaking kneecap that big, and
Uh-huh.
and here you are, how you look. You're not married and you don't have that ring. And she said, well, yeah. I asked her, I said, well, where are you going tonight? She says, I'm going to the party with some basketball. She was going to a party. There's like 4 or 5 basketball players where they're going to be there. And I said to her, well, there you
Like an
have it.
industry party.
It was like here a lot of the guys throw parties. They invite out the athletes, basketball players, and
Yeah.
I think it was at Park Avenue. This was years ago. And
Yeah.
she was going to that party, and I said to her, well, that's why you're not married.
Yeah.
You're going to a party where it's 3 or 4 guys, athletes. It's 10,000 women. You number
Mhm.
9,902
Yeah.
for 5 guys.
Let me ask you something. Did you ever see the 400-pound lady's husband?
Once or twice he came to pick up. He was outside. He came
So
out.
what
He
did,
was outside to pick up.
so what kind of guy was he?
He was a heavy set guy, but
Mhm.
he worked.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
responsible, brother. He
Uh-huh.
loved his wife.
Uh-huh. He
So
had a fat
whenever I
face.
hear, whenever people say only type of women black men get is fat white girls. So I used
Mm-hmm.
to say in the salon, what about the brothers that like fat black sisters?
Yeah.
And they can't
Exactly.
speak. I have a cousin right now. Me, if she ain't a toothpick, or like in Colombia we call them flacas, or the Latin
Yeah.
America flacas. If her booty too big, I don't like big butts. She
Yeah.
has to be. I like petite, skinny women.
Uh-huh.
My cousin, if 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 her thighs are not sparking and rubbing and leaving grease tracks, he ain't interested. So the narrative of the only type of the only type of women black men get is fat white girls. Why all these brothers with fat sisters now?
Mm-hmm.
See, it changes when a brother get a fat sister, it's okay. A brother get a fat white girl, that's all he could get.
Exactly.
And I know several brothers, even my cousin's sons, they're looking at the fat. I'm not going to, I guess you can't use fat. The overweight, thick, overweight, big booties. Jesus Christ, my Lord.
Uh-huh. Ain't no
I
way you
just,
can get up in there. You can't get past all that.
let me tell you
Those
something. Let me tell you
BBLs.
something. I wouldn't know.
Uh-huh.
I've never had, I don't think I've had anything over a 6 or a 4.
Wow.
This is all my life.
I've wrestled with the big ones, so it's not easy.
I,
It's
I
rough on the
haven't,
shoulders. You can dislocate your
I,
shoulders and stuff like that.
I would,
Hold wide open.
I would know. And I don't have anything against it.
Uh-huh.
It's just my preference. It's
You know
what
what they
I
say?
like.
You know what they
What's
say
that?
down in Louisiana? But you gotta be a strong man to deal with a woman like this, boy.
Like what
I,
the big.
no, I was down there, and I would meet women that had the most nastiest attitudes and anything like that. I'm like, yo, what's up with these girls, man? The guy said, yo, you gotta be a strong man to deal with these type of women. These women down here. I said, man, you gotta be a fool to deal with these women down here. Ain't no way.
Hey,
That
I mean,
stink ass attitude. I'm just trying to
hey,
buy a burger. I mean, you having an attitude with me? Jeez.
what I saw in the early 2000s, what's happening now, what Kevin Samuels was talking about, peace be upon him,
Hmm. Yeah.
and what Tommy Sotomayor was talking about.
Yeah.
I was in the hair business long before there was a YouTube.
Yeah.
Long before these guys said what they said, I could go get a bunch of guys. My cousin is one of them. He had it. He have his own salon now. He started in the hair business before I did. My brother, I can get several men, and we share the same stories. I just so happen to have foresight
Yeah.
that that I got from God to where I can see what's happening today.
Hmm.
What Kevin Samuels was talking to, he's talking to their daughters.
Yeah.
My cousin and I, and a lot of more other guys that was in the hair business back then, we were dealing with their mothers.
Oh yeah.
So how they are today, I saw it 20 something years ago.
Hmm.
I saw it that far ago, that far back.
Yeah.
And I knew that I knew, and because I used to fast and pray, and I just had to throw my hands up. One of the biggest things back then, in the 2000s and 2005s, was a decent brother having to compete with a pookie.
Mm.
What I'm saying is,
You're still doing it right now. Yeah, though.
I watch this. I don't know what you're talking about,
You're not
because in
competing.
2000, 2005, I said, I'm enough of this. I'm done.
Yeah.
2005 was when we actually had, June of 2005 was the deadline for all travelers to have passports. Prior to that, you could fly with your birth certificate.
Yeah.
So to June 2005, I believe, but I was flying before that.
Yeah.
I made the decision. I have to date abroad,
Hmm.
and dating abroad, it has nothing to do with hating black women. It's that God gave me the foresight to see what I'm seeing now, what I'm experiencing now, and what the women the women are saying now. Not just men are saying this, women are saying this too. When you have, I forgot the sister's name, the psychologist, psychiatrist, or they were talking to women and they were like, "I have to give this up. I'm done. I can't
Oh,
help these women." It was
yeah.
two of them.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm
But
saying is,
one of them turned into some like a fake guru doing
I don't,
Amway
I,
type stuff. For this. She's a
I don't
con
know, but
artist.
what? Oh, go ahead.
She's a con
But
artist.
well, I don't know what she is
Hmm.
kind of this, but they would. I saw it. I saw how
Hmm.
I sat in the salons and I heard the stories,
Hmm.
1-on-one, 5-on-1. I'm by myself, 4, 5, 6 women, and
Yep.
and it wasn't. It's not all of them.
Would
It's
you
not all of the
say?
women, but it was a. Go ahead.
Well, would you say what? Because what I believe is happening, that we are, for the so-called African American, the blacks, which there's no such thing, which are, I mean, because none of us came from Africa, and which are, and black is nothing but a color in a crayon box. So, but the ones that are here, I think this is extinction level right here. We're going into extinction because men, all men have caught on, even the new young generation. I got a 15-year-old son that sees what's going on, and he's like, I'm good. And this is going on globally because this this dysfunction has spread globally, even to Arab countries. You know.
I don't know. I can't speak for the Arab countries, but as being I don't like Black American. I don't like African American, Indigenous Black American, or Native American, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
And um, what happened was the most important thing. What I think that happened was we lost the culture. There was a brother, a mentor of mine by the name of Takuma. Takuma had a bookstore in Fort Worth called Roots and Culture. And one day I went by his bookstore and we talked. We used to talk all the time. And he told me, Brother Ron, it's too late. We've lost the culture. And when you lose the culture as a people, the man loses his position and knowledge of self. And so does the women, and then this trickles down and passed on. So by us, when you lose the culture, and you lose the culture, and we lost the culture through the integration.
Okay.
See now you're getting ready to go off into a different subject. That's for another. We can go.
I was going to go to hip hop.
No, it was well. It wasn't hip hop. Hip hop is like another weapon used.
Yeah.
You have to. These are different weapons that are being used against us, so that we would never come into knowledge of self of who we are. So that we'll be calling ourselves FBAs.
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a timeline. What you're talking about? So, are you talking about when the feminist movement came?
No.
That's when culture was lost, or before that?
We started losing the culture doing integration. And how do you lose the beginning process of losing culture? See, now we're getting from the salon business. Now we're going back into
what year was the integration? Because I mean, you got the Tulsa thing, where after Tulsa, soon after that, so you talk about like the 30s, 1930s?
No, the integration period was 1955, 56. The Brown versus 54, 55. I'm sorry, 54, 55. Brown versus Board of Education.
Yeah,
that's when the integration process. Now that right there is a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Trust me when I tell you that. But when you integrate it into another culture and they became your teachers, you lose knowledge of self.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. I mean, white people were looking after themselves, which they're supposed to do. First law of nature, self-preservation, not only for oneself but for one kind. Go ahead.
And you had the gatekeeper there teaching you.
Well, or the gate teacher there pushing that agenda.
Exactly.
For whatever reason. So, like I said, when you get off into that, the what you mentioned, the 30s, you're looking at the Jim Crow and segregation period. That's something totally different. When you were sitting in a salon business and you see the culture is lost, and then you see the music changes from the late 80s and 90s, and then you begin to see how people, men and women, are acting out the music that they hear.
You know what? I got a question though.
Go ahead.
So we talked before in private. We talked about Fannie Willis and that ghetto, that yo, I'm a bad chick. You can't tell me nothing. She gonna talk to the other side, the other table, like, yo, I feel offended. I'm not giving you nothing, and all this ghetto ratchetness in the courtroom. When did that come into play? When did that mindset come into play? Do you think
that the attitude of I'm educated, I'm smart, and sometimes you can just be too smart for your own good, and that's what happened to a lot of. Excuse me.
She don't sound smart. And what she's done, she looks pretty stupid.
Well, that's what happens. Hold on a second. Watch this. There's a saying: intelligence plus arrogance equals ignorance. I made that one up.
Yes.
I made that up. Intelligence plus arrogance equals ignorance. So when you're so intelligent, You're so arrogant in your intelligence. You become ignorant, and you get in your own way.
Yeah.
You forget your position. You forget. You think you're more than what you are. And when you start acting that out, you start talking to your man crazy. I mean, here's his sister.
That's why I was gonna go with that. I was gonna say because she feels as like she don't need a man. She don't need to respect that. She's on an equal playing field. And as we saw from the sister that went off to Africa, she's like, "Yo, I'm not gonna get beneath a man. We're not gonna follow Christian, what's your biblical word. We're oh no, that's not us. That's some old stuff. That was in the past. That's not the way it is right now. This is the future."
Let me pull up. Can I pull up a scripture if you don't mind?
Oh, yes,
because this is
sir,
what.
Please.
This is where we've kind of gotten lost. I have,
Minister
I've kind of.
Agitator.
No, I'm not a minister, but my father preached. I told you my grandfather and a lot of the men on my father's side were ministers. To this day, there's a scripture in the Bible, and it talks about. I kind of lost my train of thought about turning back from your wicked ways, and I will heal your land. See, we have gotten away, especially the women, have gotten away from the true God, the real God. And let me say this. Have you noticed amongst the millennials and the Gen Zs that the suicide rate, the drug rate, suicide, drug epidemic, and mental health illness, you notice it's highest amongst Gen Zs and millennials? Do you know why?
Why?
Because the majority of these people are, one, atheists, or two, spiritual. Wow. If you talk to Gen Zs and millennials,
wow,
a lot of these people
are the
atheists.
So who's
spiritual? Go ahead.
It goes either way. Who's the majority?
I'm sorry.
Who's the majority atheists, millennials or Gen Z?
I think it's with the Gen Zs. Okay. But I have met millennials that were atheists, blacks.
Yeah.
Black millennials, atheists. And I was like shocked. I was like, black and atheists? I'm like, that's crazy. That's something, blacks, because of our narrative in America, we always had a connection with God.
The Baptist church.
The Baptist church, whatever church, we always had that connection. But I sit up here and listen to them now, especially through social media, and what I hear is Gen Z's, millennials, I'm atheist, I'm spiritual. And then I hear mental health, I hear suicide, and I hear drug overdose. Drug overdose, how old? 21, Gen Z. Suicide, how old? Gen Z. Mental health issues, millennials. And I said, well, what is the connection between Gen Z's, millennials, and all these other dynamics? The mental health, suicide, drug epidemic. It's all because a lot of them are spiritual atheists. And I know you said, well, Brother Ron, spiritual. There's a fine line in spirituality. And you hear a lot of these young ladies talking about the chakras, energy.
Oh, yeah.
Chakras, energy. You playing at a fine line of what spirituality are you really involved in? And a lot of these sisters are in witching.
Man, listen, the candles.
So right, the candles, and they when they get to talk, I'm spiritual, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. If they don't have that connection to the one true God, well, you can have people listen and say, well, Ron, who are you to say what's the one true God? I know how to tap off into that, and I've already done it. So I'm listening to them when they talk about this stuff, and that answers the question to the problems. These women and men, but mainly we talk about the women, have disconnected themselves from God.
brother.
They're spiritual, they're atheists, and there's witching.
You sound like you're speaking what I've been saying. We're dealing with NPCs, just no soul, just completely non-playable characters, just no soul, just going around, just there's no soul in them at all. They're just
Because they have no relationship with God. And a nation
exactly.
can rise no higher than this woman.
Mm-mm-mm. Damn, brother, can
So
you
if you
go
look,
into the? Yo, go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Because
I said a
I
nation.
want you to go back into what you said earlier about
Which one? Which one? Which
the
which one? Which one? Which?
about the stuff and everything like that.
But the what's the
Yes, I want
wigs
you to
and
go.
weaves. Oh,
Yes,
brother.
yes. But
I
finish
think it's
what you were saying and go, and then you can go into that. Can you work that in
right.
there?
See, it will come across whenever there's accountability to be held. It's going to come
Uh-huh.
across as truth is going to come across as negative and hate. Because
Okay.
if we had this same conversation and we held brothers accountable, they're gonna come off and they're gonna call me I'm negative, hateful, because you're having to deal with accountability.
Yeah.
You're having to have to do something about your problem. And as Dr. Francis Quest Wilson says, circular thought versus linear thought. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
problem, solve it. Well, we don't want to solve it, so we keep going around in circles. So the system, since we're talking about black women, a lot of them are disconnected from God. Even if they're in the church, they're
Mm-hmm.
disconnected from God.
They're connected
And
with the people.
yeah, because society has subtle and subliminally taught them who to worship and to honor.
Mm-hmm.
And in the scriptures, I think it's Corinthians, I'm thinking. Um, it talks about the woman's hair being her glory.
Mm-hmm.
How can you have another culture's hair in your head
Yeah.
and profess to be a black queen?
Mm-hmm.
You do not see Queen Elizabeth. If she have hair in her head, that because of a lot of the weaves, I know some sisters listening. Well, he don't know that nigga don't talk about weave started with them. Yes, it did, but that's their weave.
Mm-hmm.
Queen Elizabeth, if she wore a weave, it was from a white European woman.
Yes.
You're cutting off your antennas to the creator when you put another weave in your head. If your hair is your glory,
Mm-hmm.
why are you wearing someone else's hair? When I was in the hair business, I used to never do weaves.
Mm-hmm.
Very seldom. I didn't do, I would put a track in the back, but a whole head, I would send you to my cousin because I wanted the natural hair.
Yeah.
I know clients that had a full head of beautiful hair that you could pay for, and they lost it all. They lost their hair, and the wigs thinned their hair out so you could see through
Uh-huh.
their scalp. Yes, brother. Yes.
And they're wearing Asian hair, which
And they
whether it be
putting in
Indian or Korean or whatever, that don't like them. Racist as all hell.
not only that, here's another, since they're spiritual, here's another dynamic.
Uh-huh.
What spirituality, if you understand spirits and energy,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't that carry over into hair?
Exactly. And you're putting their hair in your head.
You putting another energy. Since they want to use, I'm going to use their terminology. You putting someone else's energy
Yep.
into your head to block your receptors.
Mm-hmm.
Because hair is like an antenna.
And I just want to inject this real quick. Not only are they poisoning you with their hair, but they're also taking away your creativity. I say that by the Indians, they're taking over technology. It's all the industry is going over there, right? They're taking jobs, everything, right? And then South Korea, they take it over K-pop. I told you about that. They are the new
Mhm.
rap mecca. They got these boy bands, K-pop, these Korean boys, pretty boys, and everything
Mhm.
like that, rapping in their own thing. I mean, I got a video. Man, we'll play it another time. Where
But my
like the
question is this.
Japanese is rapping.
Go ahead. Yeah,
The
but first,
Japanese are
back to this.
rapping.
How do we get our sisters to
Uh-huh.
understand what I'm saying? I was in the business for years, and now I just realized, sister, you know you cutting off your receptors, your connection to the one true God. Do you know you cutting that off?
What's
Do
it?
you not know
What?
how you're damaging your own hair? Hair's being broke off around the edges.
Exactly.
I
Oh,
I
I've
had
seen
one
some
client come.
baldness. Whoa,
I had
bad,
one
bro.
client come to. I had one client, but then too, if you look at the women that are doing their hair, the women that are doing our women's hair look like it's matted on their head,
Mm.
brother. Our sisters have single-handedly bankrupt the black hair care industry.
Mm.
They have put they have put a lot of black hairstylists out of business and made them go get jobs just by simply getting braids and weaves and going natural. But when they put the braids and weaves in their head to go natural, they went to the Africans and gave
Yeah.
the Africans $400 a month. four
Wow.
hundred dollars in it for a hairstyle, and it might last 2 or 3 months. You
Mm-hmm.
bankrupt your own economy
Mm.
because of why? As Takuma said at Roots and Culture in Fort Worth, Brother Ron, we've lost the culture. He was from Guyana. We've lost
Yeah.
the culture, Brother Ron. We lost the culture. And when you lose as a man, one of the sisters in the interview, she said that a man does not like, it's in a man's nature for one to be needed.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the desire for us to be needed, it has nothing to do with your education and your income. My desire to be needed. And I used to tell clients this. You want to know why your husband left your beautiful fine ass for some fat chick, for a fat black woman with 4 kids? It's not his. Because she made him feel needed. And here
Mm-hmm.
you are, fine and pretty,
Needed and respected and
needed and
appreciated.
respected. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't understand. Ron, she fat. This fat bitch, she know I'm married. Well, look how you talking to me. You don't sound like Proverbs 31
Mm-hmm. A
in the
righteous
book of
woman.
Proverbs, but a virtuous woman. But if you read
Virtuous
at the
woman.
beginning of it, it was a woman who was telling her son, who was a king, not to be drunken with wine. That's for people who sick and dying. And do
Mm-hmm.
not give your strength unto women.
Oh
And
yeah.
for son, who can find a virtuous woman? And then she went off into the characteristics and the qualifications of a virtuous woman. The virtuous woman wasn't sitting at home barefoot and pregnant. When she was out in the market, she was seen buying and selling and doing business. And
Yeah.
when the people in the town looked at the husband and the kids, they knew that that man and those children had a good wife and mother. And
Mm-hmm.
then it said later, everything that she was seen doing shit. Until one scripture in Proverbs 31.
Mm-hmm.
It said that when she opened her mouth, it was with kindness and wisdom.
Mm.
All the other times, she was quiet. She
Yeah.
wasn't bumping off at the mouth. Bitch ass nigga, I'm independent. I'm strong. But as the woman said to her son, for son, who can find one? Do not give your strength to women.
Mm-mm.
I'm not making this up. This is in the Christian book. This is in the book that 98% of Black American women read
Yeah.
and believed. Believed and believed. Now they
I
don't
would say they're
even
not
read it.
listening.
They're
They're
not
not
reading
reading
it.
or listening.
They don't care because the chakras and the energy and the vibration. Don't you feel the vibrations? Feel the vibration. None of that is godly. The African verbs, the African culture. That's not your culture. You're not an African. Majority of Black America is not African.
Exactly.
We didn't come off the ships, shall I say. That was a narrative given to us. So I sat and I
Sad
saw
state.
that. Go ahead.
It's a sad state of affairs. And then
It's
don't
very
forget
sad.
goddess. That's the new one. So now they don't need nobody. They're independently. They're the supreme power. They're a goddess now.
And then you have misinformed guys telling them that the Black woman is God and this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, and my queen and my king. And you hold to these titles. You hold on to these titles because subconsciously you cannot compete from an economical, social, political scale with the other groups. So you have to go off titles that give you a false sense of progress subconsciously. My king, my queen, you was a king, but what kingdom? In my own house. You don't hear other groups of people call themselves kings and queens because they're too busy building other people. They're too busy working together. And the woman, the age, oh man, let me tell you something. This the Vietnamese woman, when I say they are some money making, hungry, grinding women, that Vietnamese woman, they are sharp. They are smart. They are about money and family. And they never call themselves a queen. They never call themselves a king. The Indian, even though they are Asians, the woman, she gets in her role and position, and the man take her his business. Chan Patel, who had got his name on Baylor Scott and White Hospital. Baylor Scott and White Patel. He don't call himself a king. The people who call themselves the white boy, now the white boy in the United States, he can call himself a king and he can prove it and show it. Jerry Jones, he don't call himself a king. Robert Kraft, Arthur Blank, when they put these stadiums up, the stadiums is that's a dick measuring contest.
Yeah.
But that's another subject.
Exactly.
They don't call themselves kings. They don't use these false titles. Right.
They don't need to prove nothing to nobody.
They don't have to prove it
for itself.
The people who proven themselves to call using useless titles is no different than buying overpriced clothes and wearing jewelry. It's the same thing. There's no difference. It's all
and they wear the blacks wear the inferior designer brands, the real flashy ones. The rich ones don't wear that stuff. They shop for deals and stuff like that. They ain't shopping for that crazy flash.
It's a subconscious manifestation of losing.
Yeah.
And not being able to complete. God is his king, my queen. But is there any treatment behind that? Do you treat each other like kings and queens?
Oh hell no.
You don't even want to talk to each other in passing.
Exactly.
I went to a 7-Eleven off of Green Oaks and 20 the other day. There was two sisters that was in front of 7-Eleven. I wasn't sure what they were selling, but I sat in the truck and watched them talk to all of the whites, when men, women, and the Mexican guys
Uh-huh.
and the sisters.
Yeah.
When I walked in, when I was walking up to go in, they turned their back. And when I was walking out of the store, they turned their back. And when other people got in the truck and watched, and then other people came and asked them what they wanted. Then let me tell you about the last time that happened to me at that same 7-Eleven. I went to the same 7-Eleven, and there was two guys selling. It was some type of formula or cream to clean headlights to make them brighten up.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Got the
And
fog
there
out.
was right, exactly. There was a black guy and a white guy. The white guy said to the black guy, "Hey, go talk to that guy right there, the black guy right there. See if you want to buy something." And I'm sitting up there listening because I listen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, "Nah, nah." And the white guy said, go ahead. You might get a sale." And the black guy said, nah, he doesn't have any money. So the white guy walked up to me, young white guy walked up to me, as God is my witness. And he said to me, "Hey man, you want to buy some such and such cream, blah, blah, blah? Let me show you." He put it on the headlights. He cleaned it up. I said, "Yeah, how much is it?" "It's 2 for $25, 2 for $35, something like that." I said, I paid for it. And then the black guy came up.
Yeah.
See, we are so critical and judgmental of each other
Oh yeah.
that he wasn't expecting for me to buy anything. It's the same concept with the sisters.
Mm-hmm.
It happened
It's
another
self-hatred,
time.
man.
It's
Self-hatred, insecurity. Um, I mean, what would you call that?
self-hatred, or I don't know. Sometimes ignorance.
I mean, definitely it's ignorant, but there's something about when you see someone that is of your own people. I mean, it's definitely self-hatred, but I'm trying to get to like why is that the way it is? I mean, is that a learned? Is that from maybe it's from the brainwashing of the television set? I mean, what's it? You're wearing other people's hair. Your the Africans have been bleaching their skin, and we used to bleach our skin. Just
Wait a minute.
straightening
I
up the
can't
hair.
know. We black Americans, or according to this context of this conversation, I'll use black
Yeah.
American. We were not at the height of skin bleaching. Jamaicans were, Africans.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
I was living in Jamaica, and also I've seen some African stores here in DFW that still have bleaching cream. But I was living in Jamaica when, if I can remember, they banned bleaching cream. They banned bleaching
Yeah.
cream. Yeah.
Oh,
So the
definitely.
bleaching cream thing has has never been a part of the Black American dynamic. If of
Well, then
very few, go ahead.
I just got it. It's colonization. Colonization. Which you got a white Jesus. Which you looked. You see the white Jesus is God and everything. So you worship whiteness.
Well, well, is
Only in
it is
America,
it
not in.
is it really colonization? Because a lot of the young ones, they don't have the white Jesus image. With them, they put themselves in the place of the white Jesus.
Uh-huh. But yet
Is
they
that more
still
dangerous? Is that more dangerous than the white Jesus? Because
explain.
at least if you had the image of Jesus subconsciously in your mind, and you knew
Mhm.
Jesus was the Son of God, we still, as Gen X's, knew to pray. When
Mhm.
you put yourself in the image of Christ or God, or wait a minute, I'm gonna say, if you put yourself in the image of Christ, you subconsciously block out God. you don't know who to pray to. You can't pray to yourself. You have to have a higher power. And you are not the higher power. If you were, you wouldn't have to pray.
Exactly.
Gods and goddesses.
You could just think and it would happen.
And this is the
Yeah.
disconnection. And this is the
Thanos.
problem. And this is the problem with the millennials and what is it, Gen Zs when it comes to the suicide, drug epidemic,
Mhm.
what's the other one? Mental health issues.
Mhm.
Even if the mental health issues were taking place amongst the Generation X, it's not at the rate of them. And remember, us Generation X, we are not the crack epidemics. That's not our generation. We saw
The
our,
generation before.
we saw in the 80s, we saw people that were 10, 15 years older than us.
Yeah. Mhm.
It wasn't us.
Exactly.
Now, did some of us fall victim to drugs? Yes, they did.
Oh
So,
yes.
but it's not. But the younger generation, when you go look at the streets, all these city streets and these city streets, these are majority Gen Zs and millennials.
Yeah.
Gen Zs and millennials.
I think they're mostly millennials.
But I know, yeah. But I also know
Yeah,
some.
a whole bunch of millennials, and then you have some old Gen X's out there if they haven't died off,
Right,
you know. But you got some old men out there that's like,
right,
all cracked up
right.
with the
So
zombie and everything
been
like
quite
that. Just
right. But the new zombie fight, but the zombies are not the majority of them. They're not the Generation X.
uh
It's the
because we saw
zombies or the
we
millennials.
saw the destruction and everything, and anybody that's
Right,
smart didn't mess with it. But which I think,
right,
but guess what? But also our generation probably went ahead. Some of them went and started selling drugs, and then next you know they got hooked.
right. That happened. So, but a majority of the younger ones, because they cut the connection off, they don't have a connection with God. And
Hmm.
so it's the same thing with the women.
Yeah,
And when you lose the culture, you have what you have today. And as I mentioned before, I saw this in 2000, in the 2000, 2005. And so I made the decision to, it's not going to get better. And then
but
so
how
when
about
I
this?
sit back, go ahead.
But what are we seeing? We're seeing a dysfunctional culture, which are and they're carrying this culture to the next generation. The woman, the female, they have a dysfunctional culture and they're festering it and spreading to the next generation. As you see with these rappers, and you see little babies dancing, dancing, which are shaking their booties and everything like that, and twerking and everything like that in the daycare, man. Just like, yo, I mean, I don't see a future. I see this is, excuse me, I see this is uh, a total wipeout. I see which they have achieved. The powers that be have achieved the goal that with population control, these people are going to be gone because no one's trying to get with it. You know,
It's
they're
not,
trying to,
it's not,
huh?
it's not the powers that be. They're not in control.
You don't think
It's
so?
the,
They set it
it's,
up. They brought in the drugs. They changed the
you,
hip hop. They promote. They push certain things.
that's what they put out. But the higher power controls it all. The higher
Hmm.
power says yay or nay. And because
True.
when you lose your culture, you
Yeah.
also lose your God.
Hmm.
You lose your history. You
You
lose
lose your
your
soul.
religion, basically. So that's why what you're seeing now is a people that are not in their culture. That's
Yeah.
why you have the problem that you have. And in the book of Deuteronomy, God, and 68, the scriptures mention, I will make you few in number. Let's see how they're making black Americans few in number. You don't have to believe that's you, but the foreigner, the alien coming and taking. We could go to that now, and it'll blow. If you go to the book of go to Deuteronomy 28 and chapter 28 and verse 68. I think it's verse 68. And you start reading that, the blessings and the curse. It describes the Black American to this day. The foreigner coming and taking what's yours. Can I go to it real quick? Do we have time to go to it? Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up.
Let's do it.
Let me pull this up real quick. You go as the old people say, you're gonna boo blue streak. Let me pull this up. Deuteronomy 28. Blessings for it starts with the blessings for obedience, and then from the blessing from obedience, it goes off into the curses. And I think the curses start at like 32, if I don't believe 15.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, I'm gonna try to be brief with this. What did I do with my lens? I can blow it up if just. I want to make this brief because I don't want to bore the audience. It says it will strike you with wasting disease. The Lord will cause you to be okay. It says blessings and the curses. Deuteronomy 28, and it starts with 20. It talks about the curses. Well, actually, the 15 it talks about curses. He says, I'm trying to do it briefly. He said, you will be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. Your basket and kneading trough will be cursed. The fruit of your womb will be cursed, and the crops of your land, and the cows of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. You will be cursed when you come in and cursed when you leave out. The Lord will send on you curses, confusion, rebuke, and everything you put your hand to, until you are destroyed and come to sudden ruin because of the evil you have done in forsaking him. The Lord will plague you with diseases until he has destroyed you from the land you are entering to possess. The Lord will strike you with wasting disease, with fever, inflammation, with scorching heat and drought, with blight and mildew, which will plague you until you perish. The sky over your head will be bronze, the ground beneath you iron. The Lord will turn the rain of your country to dust powder. It will come from the skies until you are destroyed. The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will come to them from one direction, but flee from them in seven. And you will become a thing of horror to all kingdoms on the earth. Your carcasses will. What did it just say? You will come to them from direction and flee in seven, and you will become a thing of horror to all kingdoms on the earth. Black people are horrible people to all people around the earth. Hold on one second. And then it says your carcasses will be food for all the birds and the wild animals, and there will be no one to frighten them away. Getting killed, Black American men are getting killed all over Latin America. African American women are getting killed all over Africa, and some in Latin America, but it's not as many.
Yeah.
These are conversations that's not being had. So I want to hurry up because I don't want to take all your time. He said, the Lord will afflict you with the boils of Egypt, with tumors, festering sores, and the itch from which you cannot be cured. The Lord will afflict you with madness, blindness, and confusion in mind. At midday, you will grope about like blindness from the dark. You will be unsuccessful in everything you do. Day after day, you will be oppressed and robbed with no one to rescue you. Isn't that the plight of Black Americans?
All I can do right now is put on a brave face and go out there and be their leader.
It's over. We are screwed.
Please continue, sir. I had to put that in there.
Right. I know that was.
Yeah,
it says you will
like,
be.
yo, this is exactly what I've been saying. What's the annihilation, the destruction? We will no longer exist. The world we know will be no longer.
But it's all because of the decisions we make. not the system of white supremacy.
Exactly.
No other group of people have a problem sustaining, building, and growing in the system of white supremacy.
Yep. Exactly.
The immigrants come over here where they incentivize. Wait a minute, blacks have been incentivized for years. If you go look up the amount of money given to black organizations from the federal government every year, and they don't take that money and trickle it down to help the black community. I went to school off of Pell Grant, to cosmetology school. My brother and a lot of young ladies were able to go to school off Pell Grants, money given to us by the government. Sisters have been on Section 8 housing, and some today, black women still today on Section 8 housing and getting food stamps till this very day. That's not incentivization. They're not being incentivized. I'm sorry.
An incentive.
Isn't that not being incentivized?
Yeah.
And then when they say, yeah, but the man can't be in the house. Well, if the man can't be in the house, every time she had more kids, they give her more food stamps. This is some critical motherfucking thinking that we don't do.
Nope.
Sisters can go to, if they own Section A, they could go to school. There's a course here. There's a school here, PCI Health Training School. They can go to school for dental. They can go to school for medical. They can go to different schools, but they don't go. So now here the immigrants are coming over, and everything that the federal government has been doing for black Americans to help black Americans lift themselves, we haven't taken advantage of that. The black leadership has taken the billions of dollars and paid 85 to 90% of that towards administration. And with the other 10%, use that money to buy turkeys and hand out baskets and backpacks. They haven't built up the community. That's where the immigrants are coming over here and they are starting businesses. They are buying cars. Are you there with me? Are you following me? Are you there?
I'm following you. Because I'm looking for something that I think will be quite poignant to what you're saying. If you don't mind, if I share this.
No, go ahead. And I was going to look at some more stuff too while you.
Okay.
But some of the stuff.
One migrant laid out the scam: break in, drop a baby, and be a welfare king.
A todas esas mujeres.
To all those women that find themselves pregnant and are in Latin America, please come have your baby in the United States. And if you get married, you'll get more back in taxes. And, well, if you have 5 or 6 children, can you imagine? My daughter is American and she gave me citizenship. She pays our rent. She pays our bills. She gives us $1,500 a month since she was born. I have 6 months in the USA and I have everything you don't have. Citizenship, residency, a good car, and a good apartment.
Now, when American women get pregnant, the government helps them stay single, work, and have an abortion. When a migrant gets pregnant, the government helps them cross the border, have the baby, get married, don't work, and put their hand out. Primetime producers crunched the numbers. A migrant family of 4 in New York could get over 20 grand a month in freebies. 500 a night at a hotel, 130 a day for food, and having 2 kids in public school costs us 5 grand a month. We didn't even tack on Mayor Adams' $1,000 cash gift cards, the free health care at the ER, or the free phones and free lawyers, or the $400,000 in free college tuition per dreamer. Meanwhile, taxpayers with jobs in New York pay thousands to live in a closet.
Welcome to my 80 square foot apartment that I pay $1,750 for.
This apartment's one?
Yeah, sir.
Hey, watch this. Watch this. It says the foreigners who reside among you will rise above you higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. They will lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head, but you will be the tail. What ethnic group of people does that describe? Does most of this stuff describe and what's happening today?
The African Americans, sir.
At what point do you not get out of yourself and turn back to God?
Really turn back to God,
But you
not.
can't. But here's the key: you can't turn back to God if you don't know this is you.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew this is you, you would know what you need to do. But you're confused, deaf, dumb, stupid, and blind, and have no idea as to who you are. So you look at this and you say to yourself, he ain't talking to me. This is you.
And won't take leadership from your husband or your man.
And here's something else. All the curses will come on you. They will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed because you did not obey the Lord your God and observe the commands and decrees he gave you. So you have to go back. Why not go back? First, once you know who you are,
Mm-hmm.
then you can find, well, what are the commands and what are the decrees that you gave us? Because I like having nice things. And according to what you're telling me is I'm not going to have it because of my lifestyle. I want to have what the foreigners have. Don't you want to have what the foreigners have? They doing better than us.
That's the reparations we've been asking for, right?
Rep of who? You can't even prove you African. The new reparations write up that's being pushed, how this verbiage and how the terminology says that, and for example, a Nigerian man that's born in Nigeria, that have U.S. citizenship, that have kids, his kids are considered African Americans and privy to reparations. Because you and I, and nearly every African, every Black American, FBA, ADOS, none of us have a parent or grandparent or great grandparent that was born in Africa with an African birth certificate to claim the reparations according to how it's written. But an African who came over here 40 years ago and had his kids, they are privy to the reparations according to how it's verbiaged, the verbiage and how it's written. Because they can say, I'm an African American and we were born such and such, I'm from Nigeria, I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba, and then turn around and prove it. Because if you go off into Cuba, the largest population of Africans in Cuba are Yoruba. If you go off into Brazil, Yoruba, Colombia, Yoruba, Igbo. And you saying you were them, and then you have the birth certificates from your parents and their parents. You get the reparations that the Black Americans. Well, wait a minute. We're not giving reparations to FBA, what is it? Foundation of Black Americans. We're not giving it to ADOS. We're not giving it to African Americans. You're going to ask for reparations to the government and calling yourself everybody that they have reparations for, and wonder why you're getting denied. The money we have set up is for this group of people called Indigenous Native Americans. But you're calling yourself an African American. We don't have the money for them. You're calling yourself an FBA. We don't have money for them. Bam. Rule, outlawed. Have nobody not figured this out?
There's no unity. There's no unity in the family.
It's a loss of culture.
Yeah.
The culture is gone. As Brother Takuma said, and once the culture is gone, Brother Ron, it's too late. I showed Mr. Takuma. Sitting down with Takuma 3. Go ahead.
Can I just play this
Takuma, Takuma's not dead, but go ahead.
This woman says, you say you want him to lead, but
say that you want him to lead, but then on the flip side of that, when this man leads, you label him as controlling. You say he's trying to rule your life. You say he's trying to be your father. Like, how is that even possible? If you don't trust him to lead, then why are you still there?
It's unbelievable.
Can I share something else with you real quick?
If we don't have our rib, what can we do?
If we don't have our what?
If we don't have our rib, Adam and Eve, which is the rib. I tell you, what can you do? You're just like, what the hell?
If we don't have, I told some women this. I said, I said, we're the only group of men that don't have our women.
Yeah.
And what can we do without them? And then even if you look at the dysfunction and the ignorance of brothers today, it's ungodly, and it's impossible to be this freaking backwards and ignorant as a nation.
Man.
How can you exist? But hold on, let me share something with you real quick, and then it's real quick, and I think it's going to what's gonna kind of play out today. What's going on today? The Lord will bring a nation against you from far away, from the ends of the earth, like an eagle swooping down on a nation whose language you would not understand or pity for the young. They will devour your young of your livestock and the crops of your land until you are destroyed. They would leave you no grain, new wine, or olive oil, nor any calves of your heads or lambs or your flocks until you are ruined. They will lay siege to all the cities throughout your land until the high fortified walls of which you trust fall down. They will besiege all the cities throughout the land, and the Lord your God is giving you. You're losing Chicago,
New York,
California, New York, New Jersey, Boston, Arizona, New Mexico. I said California, Denver. Those just some of the blue states.
Yeah.
Here in Texas, they already here in Texas, and they spread. It's right here. But you don't know what to do because you don't know this is you.
So what do you believe should be done?
There's
Find
another
God.
Scripture. There's another scripture. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I like that you said that. And like I said,
I want to answer because this is what I've been saying for the longest, that we're screwed, that it's over. I mean, that's like I keep on saying the only way out of this is to leave here. If you have your family, if you have cooperation with your woman, you could have built up something that you can go ahead and say, you know what, I'm just gonna exit. I'm gonna go into another land and start businesses and do things and act like that and get the hell out of here. But it don't always work out that way.
Wait a minute. You said something, and leaving the country is not the answer. Here, I'm going to tell you the answer. And a lot of people, I think it's, oh no, come on. It's
You're gonna hear it here first, ladies and gentlemen, the answer.
If my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. It's scriptural. This is some scriptures, something that's been written for thousands of years. Regardless to, we're not going to get into semantics of all the scriptures that were taken out. My brother, see the Bible put together. Nah, you fucking niggas trying to look for reasons. They're looking for self. It's right here. If my people are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. So you asked me the question.
Yeah.
And this is the solution. But the arrogance of Black Americans, they're not going to know who they are to even turn back to God. They're going to stay in the position that they're in. There's another scripture about being turned into a reprobated mind. But you know what I missed earlier?
What?
I missed earlier when it talks about how Black Americans, or I will make you few in numbers. First thing I'll make you few in numbers is abortions.
Yeah.
Black Americans have been 13% of the population for 40 plus years. How?
Yeah.
Why?
Genocide.
Immigrants. Being flooded out with immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
So you're dealing with abortions, 1,000 a day. Immigration. Disease. Just name it. Parenticide, homicide, suicide. Everything that's plaguing Black Americans are making Black Americans, you're few in numbers. Immigrants. I was listening to Thomas Sowell. I was doing some work and I was listening to Thomas Sowell lecture.
Yeah.
And the conversation was about, and this white lady said, she said, I don't understand. Immigration hurts America, but it doesn't hurt America how it hurts.
Damn. I tell you, it looks like it is 10:12.
So we get ready to end this. I want to say this, and you can have She said it doesn't help Black America. She said it doesn't hurt America how it hurts Black.
I'm just gonna mute out that thing and see. All right, so just keep on going.
Okay, she said it doesn't hurt America how it hurts Black America. She said, but what I don't understand is why there's no Black leaders saying anything about it. And she was talking about immigration. So when I stopped doing what I was doing and I got over to the phone and I looked at the lecture series was from 30, it was a Thomas Sowell 30 years prior. And I'm like saying to myself, I thought she was talking about immigration today. No, this was immigration 30 years ago. And how no Black leader had said anything about it.
Wow.
I said, that's what I said. Mm-hmm. So it's 10:13. I gotta send some text messages and emails, respond to them for some work I'm doing. But
it's been awesome. I'm thoroughly depressed now. I'm just like, wow.
Why are you depressed when you have a solution?
Oh yeah, but I'm depressed for all the others.
Well, the first thing as men, and women, we have to choose wisely who we breed with.
Oh yes. Oh definitely.
The woman, when you say a nation can rise no higher than its woman, for women are the first teachers. If you raise a man, if you educate a man, you educate a person. Yeah. If you educate a woman, you educate a nation. A lot of women are going to see this and say, they always put everything on us. That's because she lacked the knowledge and the information, and she don't know who she is. She don't know the power that she has. She has the power in her mouth, the tongue, to make you as a man or to destroy the entire family. But if they are taught proper, a lot of the women that I know that are taught proper, they are married today. I'm not saying the marriage is perfect, but their mothers were married. Their grandmothers were married.
Yeah.
So they married and they teach their daughters, baby, find a husband. I can go all night, but brother, it's been beautiful. Yeah, and like I said, it's not an attack on sisters. It's an attack on the community because we have to turn back and seek God and heal our land because our education is not going to do it. Remember, the definition of education is the process of giving or receiving systematic instruction, preferably at a college or university. Systematic instruction is a blueprint. So when you're saying you are educated, you've been given systematic instruction to do what?
What?
To maintain the status quo.
Exactly. All right,
Brother,
brother. You
like
have
I
a
said,
good
it's
night.
not. Hey, like I said, it's not a bashing of sisters. It's not bashing brothers. Hopefully, it was constructive criticism, and to get the sisters to understand that their hair is their glory, and once the sisters find the glory and the beauty within themselves, they will find the God within themselves.
All right, and I gotta go to the glory of my baby.
And I got to get to work. I got to do a lot of emails. I'll talk to you later,
right,
man. All right, peace out. All right.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.